You've just summed up everything about reading in that sentence. When I was a kid, I read a book about Shackleton.
And then I wanted to go. And who would have thought I would have ended up there? At Deception Island, I stripped off.
Yeah.
I kept my hat on and my gloves and I ran into the sea for about 12 seconds.
Another interest, which I'm so happy to ask you about, which is Star Trek.
Are you a Trek? Listen.
Well, I wanted to. I know.
Are we the same person?
We definitely were cut from the same cloth. Yeah, okay. Live long and prosper. She just did it. Well done, Lorraine.
We're in the middle of nowhere in Zimbabwe and there's no Wi-Fi. And I was at the stage of editing the book and then sending the edited, all the copy back to the publisher. And I couldn't get Wi-Fi. And the only place you can get Wi-Fi is where the anti-poaching stations are.
Yes.
So I went to the anti-poaching and I said, can I borrow your Wi-Fi literally for 5 minutes? And he's like, no. Yeah. And then I did that thing that I've never done in my whole life. And I showed him a picture and I said, look, who's my friend? It's David Attenborough. Because I had a photograph of me and him from 10 years ago when I interviewed him.
Welcome to our guest today, who is best known for being one of Scotland's most sensational broadcasters and journalists, and I would argue most celebrated export to wherever she goes in the world. I won't 40-year career hardly. Let's say 32 with plus tax. And now she's got her book out, which is now in paperback. We're going to talk about this. Welcome, Lorraine Kelly. How lovely to see you.
And you, Ryan. It's so good to see you, fellow book geek.
Totally.
Absolutely.
But your jumper, your sweater, tops mine.
Do you like this?
It's emblazoned with 3 beautiful words. Say what they are.
Read more books.
Read more books. And when you came in the door, I said, look at this rock star. I'm loving it already. This is great. We're going to be friends for life. Okay, so my fellow bookworm, I'm not sure where to go first. First of all, you're wearing shades.
I am wearing shades. It's not because I'm being a
diva. You're Bono. Tonight, Matthew, please welcome Bono.
I'll not sing, don't worry. I had a wee fall.
Okay.
I fell over.
Yeah.
And I fell over on top of a wooden rhino whilst holding a basket of washing.
Best story ever.
I know.
Where did the wooden rhino come from?
Well, it came from Africa, because we go to Africa. We love Africa. We go on our holidays. We go camping, me and my husband. We just get a big truck and you sleep on top of the truck. You just pop it up and you sleep there and you tootle around. And that's where the rhino came from, all the way from Zimbabwe.
So the Zimbabwean wooden rhino was sitting there. Minding its own business.
Minding its own business.
Lorraine Kelly walks down doing what?
I was holding all the washing so I couldn't see, and then there's a wee step and my slippers are too big for me, and I tripped over my slippers head first into the rhino, and it's a big solid wooden fella.
And now you're Bono.
And there I'm Bono.
This is a fair. Do you know what the story that you mentioned about travelling in Africa and camping in Africa is very important to your story as a writer, because David Attenborough and you, and your book, and inspiration, and the need to get it right.
It is astonishing.
Do you want to bring all these elements together for me?
It was when we were camping, and obviously we're in the middle of nowhere in Zimbabwe, and there's no Wi-Fi, and I was at the stage of editing the book and then sending the edited, all the copy back to the publisher, and I couldn't get Wi-Fi, and the only place you can get Wi-Fi is where the anti-poaching stations are.
Yes.
So I went to the anti-poaching and I said, can I borrow your Wi-Fi literally for 5 minutes? And he's like, no. And then I did that thing that I've never done in my whole life, and I showed him a picture and I said, look, who's my friend? It's David Attenborough, because I had a photograph of me and him from 10 years ago when I interviewed him. I goes, that's my friend, I know him really, really well. And he went, oh my God, take as long as you like. Take everything. Take everything you want. So David Attenborough, God bless him for many things.
David Attenborough saved your life.
He really did.
I love that.
He really did.
That he did that. And
I know.
But I'm also curious the fact that you were on holidays and you were still trying to find Wi-Fi to get the book together.
I know.
I'm sure your husband was thrilled with that.
Oh, I'm sure he was. No, he was fine. He's very, very, very understanding. He was very understanding during the whole sort of writing process, because I had to kind of squirrel myself away, for weekends and any weeks that I had off. I was able to write because, as you know, you've got your job, your day job to do.
We were laughing before we came on that all our friends and family go, you've the easiest job in the world.
An hour a day.
Yeah, how was your hour? Yeah. Home early, are you? Yeah. But the truth is, it's a tough gig. No, I'm only joking. I'm joking.
But you have to do your homework and all of that. I kind of work a split shift. Like I used to be a waitress and I worked a split shift, the morning and the evening. But yeah, it's been a remarkable process, something I've always wanted to do.
Yes.
And I just feel very lucky to be able to do it, and lucky that people are people like it, which is great.
I'm in awe that you can do the two. No, really, they're two. Because people often says, because I'm such a bookworm, they say, "Oh, have you a book in you?" And I don't. So I'm not trying to be. You had one, and
for so long.
Tell me about the Orkneys. I've never
Oh
been.
my goodness,
Talk to me about them, because you write about them so lovingly.
I love Orkney. It's one of the most beautiful parts of the world. I've been going since 1984, probably. My daughter took her first steps there. It's just magical. There's something about, you get an awful lot of people who are artists or photographers who go there for the light. The light is amazing, but it's got a very rich culture. There's always something going on. There's a lot of bands playing and just people creating. It's a very creative
place.
Really,
yeah.
Oh, it's kind of beautiful and steeped in history. Like going back before the pyramids.
Yes.
Steeped in history and history that's very close to us, like World War II, World War One. That's with the Navy wear. There's so much. Listen, I could talk to you for days.
I appreciate that, but you're selling it to me, because we were talking to Damien Maloney, who's the new Bergerac, the other day about Jersey.
Yeah.
And I said, I must go to Jersey now. I've got to go to
You've got to go to Orkney, and it was always going to be set there. It was always going to be set there, and I had this story in my head.
Talk to us about the story.
Well, it's this thing where Evie, this young woman, has to leave Orkney as a teenager. And it's for something that you find out later. There's a big twist, but it's for a very traumatic reason. Comes down to London, stays here for 20 years and then has to go back. And how do you go back to where you're from and pick up when you have abandoned everybody? How do you do that? How do you reconnect with your relatives and your friends? And how do you get out of, because she's in a very, very toxic relationship, because she, for reasons that are in the book, she feels worthless and doesn't deserve happiness, and it's reconnecting with her community. And Orkney is a big part of it, because she misses her home and she misses them, but she feels that she can't go back, and then she has to.
Yeah, and it's nothing's ever the same when
no,
you go
it's
back.
Not. It's not, and it's not a story where everything is gorgeous at the end.
Yeah,
because it is, and to a certain extent, but life is not like that. So, and I wasn't done with the characters, Ryan. I wanted to keep things, which means that at the moment the second book is almost finished. And it actually was more difficult to write the second one, if I'm honest. At times I thought, I've used up all my material and I can't do this. It's not going to work. But you battle through that. You do. You battle through that. And funnily enough, any authors that I've talked, that I've spoken to, like Marion Keyes, for example, she said, "Don't worry, I love her. Well, she describes you as a born storyteller. That from her is incredible. But she said the second book is hard, just plough through. Isn't that interesting? Just keep going. And then the third, fourth, fifth will be fine. I hope so. It's great. I'll go serious. I just love doing it. I love the whole process. I love writing. I love the editing process. I didn't know you were such a bookworm. I love this. Oh, jeez. My mum and dad taught me to read and write before I went to school. I was reading. I was tackling War and Peace when I was about 13. I just loved I just ate books, and I still do. One of the joys of my job is reading. I love that. Will you stay with us for a few minutes? I would love to stay with you forever. Kelly. Oh, this sounds good. Morrison and Nelly Furtado, but our guest we're having a great old book in, aren't we? We're right nerd off here during the music. Lorraine Kelly, The Island Swimmer is the name of the paperback release of your book. You have another one coming down the tracks. We'll see that in a little while. But we were chatting about your love of Ernest Shackleton, the explorer, and you followed in his footsteps. I did. We managed to get to Antarctica, and we followed his route, because obviously the ship Endurance, which they found the wreck of the Endurance. I was beset. I got a call at 2 a.m. from a fellow geek saying, "Oh my God, you never guess what they found." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is amazing." I didn't go back to sleep. I was so excited. It was wonderful. I love that. I know, but we followed his journey, because obviously he had to get in a tiny little boat, which I've seen the boat, obviously, in the James Caird, and he had to go to Elephant Island, then South Georgia, then go over the mountains, and then he went back to free his men, and he saved every single one of them. What a story. And it was incredible. It is about, weirdly, endurance and leadership and stoicism and bravery. Still to this day, people use his techniques and his tactics and his way of dealing with fellow human beings. I mean, he's the man you want at your back. That's when it's all going wrong, when things are bad, you want Ernest Shackleton at your back, sorting you out. You got to go. They're about to open a new museum to him in Athy in Kildare. That sounds great. It's beautiful. I'm going. Yeah, and look it up, because you'll really
enjoy it.
I'm going.
He was born. And then you've got Tom Crean.
Yes.
Down in Kenmare. They have a brewery. His
Now
granddaughter.
he's another one. What a fella he was.
There were
what
some guys.
a man. I mean, they were extraordinary. I mean, for goodness sake, we were on a boat. We were on a ship basically, and I'm like, and it was really, it was naughty. It was up and down, up and down. I mean, the sea was terrible, and and everybody was kind of quite ill, but we were fine. We were getting fed and watered, and we were clean and dry.
Yeah.
And it still was hard,
Yeah.
So
Could you imagine? Could you imagine?
I couldn't imagine.
Where did that come from? That interest?
Do you know? I read his book. I read South,
Yeah.
the book that he wrote when I was a kid, and it just stuck with me. And I always said, one day I will go there. Wow. And what an experience! You've got to do it, Ryan. It's amazing.
I would love it. But you've just summed up everything about reading in that sentence. When I was a kid, I read a book about Shackleton,
and then I wanted to go. And who would have thought I would have ended up there? That I would have jumped into the. I went into the sea. I'm a nutter.
Did you?
At Deception Island. I stripped off.
Yeah.
I kept my hat on and my gloves, and I ran into the sea for about 12 seconds.
That you'll never get back.
I know. And then I came out, and I couldn't feel anything at all below my neck. I was like, oh, it was amazing.
It's extraordinary. And I'm going from the sublime to the ridiculous, because we do share another interest, which I'm so happy to ask you about, which is Star Trek.
Are you a Trek? Listen.
Well, I wanted to. I know.
Are we the same person?
We definitely were cut from the same cloth. Yeah. Okay. Live long and prosper. She just did it. Well done, Lorraine. That's one for TV. But let me ask you about: is it classic or Next Generation?
Original Trek.
The original Star Trek.
It's
Love
Spock.
it. Yeah.
Spock was my first crush.
Oh, that says something for the psychiatrist. Yes.
Adored him. I mean, like, seriously, adored.
Why?
I don't. Was it the logic? Was it the fact that I thought I could melt that logical heart, and he would actually love me, and it would all be gorgeous, and we would be together? And
did you want to fix his intellectual wing?
Yes,
yeah.
because Vulcans still have emotions. They
Yeah.
just suppress them. In fact, they have very strong emotions.
Yes.
But they just suppress them, and I don't think it's healthy. And I wanted to make sure that he actually became the person he should be. That's all I'm saying.
That sounds like a 1950s Irishman. But
or Scottish man, actually.
Scottish, a few of us in it, and maybe not just the 50s. But what I loved about Star Trek, and I think that's probably why you were so into it, was it pushed the bounds.
Didn't
and
it
still does. But like Gene Roddenberry was.
Yeah, because the thing is, now, of course, it's nothing that you've got a woman there, and you've got a black woman there, and you've got someone from, Russia there, and you've got all of that. That was groundbreaking.
Totally, yeah.
Absolutely groundbreaking. I remember Whoopi Goldberg shouting to her mother, Star Trek's on, there's a black lady, Lieutenant Uhuru, is on the bridge.
Yeah.
She's not playing a maid.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because up until then, there was all these horrible stereotypes.
Yeah.
And it just showed you what the world could be.
I'm laughing at that because you had Scotty, who was, I cannot take any more.
Yeah.
And we had the Irish. Colin Meaney played O'Brien. So,
Of
we
course.
all got a representation down the
We
line.
all did, and quite right too.
Oh,
fantastic.
we could go on.
Forever.
But we have to go. Lorraine
so
Kelly.
many things in common.
We'll talk again. We'll fix the. We have too many, but we'll talk again. I've no doubt about it. The Island Swimmer. Congratulations on your book, and it's, as I say, paperback release, instant Sunday Times bestseller. You're beloved, as you well know. When everyone heard you were coming in today, there was a frisson of excitement that ran along the corridor. Even reached Talk Sport. Can you believe that?
Really?
The lads were like, "Oh, I don't believe it." So it was all very good. Have a great weekend. Mind yourself. Thank you, Lorraine.
You.